Let's go. We're back. It's your boys, Thrax, Zagri, and Dr. Soybean, and the Neon Nightcast podcast.
Or as I like to call the two of you, the Sylphie and Kobori to my Salama.
You...
I feel like I know.
I know what that is.
Sylphie? Was she in Kingdom Hearts?
Nope.
That Sylphie?
Nope.
Okay, never mind. I don't know.
It's my second waifu. Anyways, we're back. It's episode 30.
No.
Come on, Mike.
20.
Yes.
9?
All right. There you go.
Way to good research.
Thanks.
There.
Yeah, thanks for keeping up with your own podcast, Mike.
So anyways, it's episode 29, and tonight's episode we're going to talk about a classic video game. We do a lot of video games, but it's a classic,
I feel like
nonetheless.
if you were born in the 90s and didn't play this video game, you either didn't have access to video games in general, or you were in a catatonic state where you just couldn't play video games.
You retroactively did not have a childhood.
Yes.
Yeah.
It often, and it is arguably the greatest game of all time. It often is on many end-of-the-year lists of the greatest games of all time. We're going to talk about Crash Bandicoot. JK. We're talking about Final Fantasy VII.
Again, they have the video title, they have a fucking clip or a picture when they open the video. I don't know why we do this. There's no point to it.
We should just jump right in.
Yeah,
no, come on. We have to have some kind of like introduction or
Well, yeah, but
yeah,
something.
introduction.
trying to build up what we're talking about is pointless.
Yeah, and then like claiming it as something it's not.
Well,
The only way this would work is if we do something like iDubbbz and like say Jake Paul, but really we're talking about Asian Jake Paul.
Yeah, well, you know what? I think it just adds to the humor. It's a running joke that I enjoy, and I will enjoy continue making it.
I don't think any of us are funny, so I don't think it adds to the humor.
Oh. Okay.
So let's just jump right into it. Yeah, obviously this topic tonight is Final Fantasy VII.
Final Fantasy VII, as some used to call it.
Did people actually call it that?
I've heard people say that.
Yeah, when
but
people,
like, you know,
when we were kids, like no one knew what Roman numerals were, so.
Yeah, I always thought that was weird too, that you even had to fucking learn Roman numerals in school. Like, what time is it? It's VII past X. Like, you would be institutionalized.
and like, so as a child, it went from Final Fantasy 2, Final Fantasy 3, and then it was VII, and it's like, what the
that must be 4, right?
Yeah, like, so, right?
Like,
it's like, what does that mean? Like, what number is that? I still have a hard time sometimes. I have to, like, think about the number, the Roman numeral that I'm looking at.
I think they did the smart thing in ignoring the missing sequels and just saying, fuck it, from now on, we're just going to call it what it actually is.
Oh, of course. Yeah, that was the better choice.
I mean, because, yeah, like having a different name or, different game title in Japan and then coming over to the US and Western countries and calling it something completely different, or I guess not completely different, but changing the number.
Yeah.
Like, that's so confusing because it's like, oh, are you talking about the Japanese numbered, or are you talking about how the Western?
Yeah, often these people will get hired at my work, and there'll be these guys that are like kind of gamers, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, like Final Fantasy 2 for the SNES," and I'm like, "That's 4," and they're like, "No, it's 2," and I'm like, "No, it's actually 4," and they're like, "Well, I'm gonna call it 2," and it's like, "Oh, good for you," like.
Two things are happening here. Mike's being a Final Fantasy snob, and they're being filthy casuals.
Well, yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I don't want to try to act like a snob, but like, it's like so common knowledge just to know that 4 is 4, not 2, or that like Doki or Mario 2 is actually Doki Doki Panic and blah blah blah. It's just like all those little did you know little timbits? Like everyone knows those at this point.
Tidbits.
Yeah. What did I say? I said timbits?
You said Timbits.
That's my Canadian coming out. So anyways, we're not even talking about the talking. We're just getting straight into the tangent. What's your favorite character from Final Fantasy VII? Because the characters are one of the things that make Final Fantasy VII ever so important.
Well, like, see, so I watched my brother play through this first, and he would name the characters after someone he knew, obviously like family members, friends, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so Cloud, I believe he named after himself, and then Barrett, because it was so close to my name, or maybe it was just because of the second character he had.
Yeah.
He named it Garrett. So for the longest time, I loved Barrett, but I don't think I like Barrett as much. I think my favorites are probably... It's a toss-up between Tifa and Yuffie.
Okay. That's fair.
I would have to go with... I would have to go with probably Tifa and Sid, a toss-up between those two.
Yeah, for me... Now, okay, no, like, Barrett is an amazing character. Barrett's really overlooked in this series, because Barrett actually, like, kind of went through the most out of
he went through
all
a lot
the
of
side
shit.
Characters.
Yeah.
And, like, even to the point, like, there's an artist who does, like, raps about video games, and there's a song about Barrett by Mega Ran called Avalanche, and it's really fucking good. And, yeah, I don't know, I just wanted to point that out to the viewers. But yeah, my favorite, like, come on, overall, Cloud. Like, he makes the game. The game is about Cloud.
Yeah.
I mean, if I could choose Zack, I would choose Zack.
You can for sure choose Zack.
All right. Well, I didn't, because he's not a playable character.
But he's a character. Like, fuck, your favorite character could be like the other soldier that was with them in Nibelheim that died.
It could be fucking Rufus, I guess. But like,
yeah, it could be.
Yeah, because I played Crisis Core first before I ever beat Final Fantasy VII. I played Crisis Core.
Yeah.
I watched my brother beat Final Fantasy VII and all that, but I never actually played Final Fantasy VII until the PSP Crisis Core and after that. And Zack was the nicest guy in the world.
Yep.
He was super fucking strong.
Yeah.
And then he just died.
His death in that game.
His death was so fucking sad.
Good.
It's just like, yeah, it's
endless wave of soldiers shooting him.
Yeah, just like tons of Shinra just like trying to kill him, and then he just like keeps taking him out, and then eventually you drop.
Yeah,
super sad.
And then I really do like Aerith. But I think like my favorite characters are Cloud and Sid, because Sid is just hilarious. He's just so entertaining.
He's like that raunchy uncle at fucking family reunions.
he just, I don't know. He swears too much. He's kind of abusive to his girlfriend, and it's all like abusive. And like the thing with that game though, it's like, they tell you that it's kind of okay that he treats her like shit because she ruined his dreams, but it's like, no, it's like, still not cool how he talks to her.
You can't treat her like that, yeah. Like, I understand she fucked up everything because she stopped the launch.
No, she didn't stop the launch. He stopped the launch because
stopped it, because she was in the the fuel area that was gonna.
Yeah,
she was hot.
She was checking she was checking the oxygen tanks during takeoff.
Yeah, she was trying to save Sid's life, because who knows? Maybe if that shuttle did take off, Sid would have died.
Yeah, one of them was broken, and he was kind of like, "I'm going up there anyways."
Yeah, and then unfortunately, the space program gets shut down, and Sid never goes into space.
I mean, if you believe they put a man on the moon, that there's nothing up there but space.
He does eventually go up there. They used the rocket to try to break Meteor.
That's another reference that nobody got. But
that's why I just continued talking.
I was like, I don't know if that's a reference. I don't know if this is one of Aerith's
somebody out there.
I want to say it's Dark Side of the Moon, but
no, it's Man on the Moon by REM. But Garrett brought up something real interesting that I wanted to touch on real quick. You mentioned that your brother, he named all the characters like after family members and people that he knows.
Yeah.
And when I play RPGs, I'll sometimes rename the main character after myself, but everybody else's name I always just leave alone. What do you guys do?
Okay, as a kid, I used to always name after family members and friends. So the first time I played VII, I used Barrett and Vincent and Cloud, and it was Mike, our dad's name, and then your name. You were Vincent.
Nice.
As a teenager, I started to like just make joke names like boobs and shit because I was like whatever. I remember I did a low level run that I ruined when I was wasted one time, but yeah, it was Cloud was just Cloud, and then Yuffie was ass and then Tifa was titties.
Nice.
Like that song Ass and Titties. Really stupid. And now that I'm older, I leave everyone's name the same.
See, whenever I did basically the same thing Mike did. Whenever I was young, I would do different names, rename them all. But now, like, whenever I play a game, I keep their names original.
Just leave it alone.
Yeah. But it's funny, whenever my dad played, I don't know what happened, but he named Cloud Doug. Like, just after Cloud.
He didn't know how to, like, backspace or something.
I guess he thought it like once you started typing it erased it all or something. I don't know what happened. So for the longest time I thought Cloud's name was actually Cloud Doug. Like, whenever I saw him in Kingdom Hearts the first time, I'm like, oh hey look, it's Cloud Doug, and my brother just looks at me like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Cloud Doug. That's like we got Link to the Past used, and the person had named Link Drippy, and we just thought Link's name was Drippy for so long.
And also, you were wasted playing Final Fantasy VII?
Okay, so no, like
you know how to party.
I was doing a low level run, and I remember I was just getting into Junon, and I don't know. I remember like just there's certain like items you needed and something. I don't know.
Fishing village.
Like it was low level run, as in you need your items to sell and items to use and shit. And I came home wasted one day. I woke up and I had basically ruined the run. And I was just like, oh, great. Like, fuck me, right?
That'll teach you to get wasted and play games.
As we barely touching on the characters of Final Fantasy, but let's continue the conversation going. Okay, let's get the weebs out of the way, right? Aerith or Ares or Tifa.
Do you want to take this one?
The age-old fight or topic discussion.
I gotta go with Tifa, man. I like her personality a lot better. Like, I do like Aerith, but Tifa's just kind of more of like a badass chick and a bit more feisty. And
but like barely, she's so mopey the whole game.
See,
she's got nice titties, nice big.
Leave it to the doctor to just reeb it up.
That's expected of me at this point, I think. So,
all right, Michael.
You can just motorboat those things. Just.
I was like from the start, Ares.
Also, Ares dresses like a frump.
She dresses conservatively, Eric.
No, I don't know. I always thought it was super hot Ares just always just kind of won my heart. I remember one time, Eric, we went to our aunt's house, okay?
Yep.
And before we left, I had saw a picture, like a fan art of her that was really hot, and I couldn't get that picture out of my head for the entire trip.
That made the trip a lot more bearable, right?
Yeah, it was a good time. Yeah, I was like borderline obsessed with her for a long time, but my heart, my number one forever waifu will always be Princess Garnet from Final Fantasy IX.
Nice.
Dude, Final Fantasy IX was a garbage game, but we're not here to talk about Final Fantasy
the best
IX.
One.
Aerith versus Tifa. I'm gonna go with Tifa also.
I knew it.
I generally agree with all the points Eric made. I like Tifa's personality more. Like, I don't know why Aerith. She just didn't grow on me like Tifa did. Aerith, I don't know. I don't like her. I don't like Aerith at all.
Aerith is actually interesting. Where like Tifa, for the most part, is just kind of like, she's like, oh, like I'm jealous that Cloud's with another girl, and then she like becomes friends with Ares, and then when Cloud gets all fucked up, she's like, oh, we got to get Cloud back. I'm gonna be by his side, and then he's basically
I feel like she's just trying to care for Cloud because
no, and then he basically is like, I can never love you. I will never love you because, you know, like you are my childhood friend and I was obsessed with you as a child, but now I got this Zack guy in my head and I will never get over Ares' death. And she's just kind of like, okay.
And if Cloud,
what was she supposed to say?
I don't know.
What do you say to that?
Yeah,
move on.
She did, Mike. She moved on.
No,
she's crying inside, but she's moved on. I mean, but yeah. So the Zack thing, like, since Zack's inside Cloud, I guess, kind of fucks Cloud over, in my opinion, because Tifa's better, and Cloud's just got this unknown obsession with Aerith because Zack's with him. Doesn't make sense.
See, okay, so spoilers, because we've already talked about spoilers and whatever, but the whole thing with Cloud is for half of the game, he has taken on the personality of his friend Zack, and it happened because they're using Genova cells, and people that get these Genova cells put in them, they're all kind of connected mentally. And just because of their bond, Cloud and Zack, when Zack was like, live for me, he like basically literally lived for Zack. And newer forms of Cloud, like in Kingdom Hearts, the movie, he's all like mopey, and he's all just like, I will never forget you. And like, it's kind of like lame. So I really like
in his skin.
He's
the best version of Cloud is when he gets back, he gets his mind all figured out. He's still sassy, he's still sarcastic, but he's just actually Cloud. I don't like what they've done with his character in extended media.
Well, in Kingdom Hearts, it's different because Cloud is fighting the darkness inside. Because in Kingdom Hearts, everyone has light and darkness. In Riku, darkness takes over, and Sora, light takes over. But, you know, they need equal parts of light and darkness, so that's where Riku and Sora cancel each other out, so there's not more of light or more of darkness. And with Cloud, his darkness is Sephiroth.
Yeah.
So it's like, it brings literally just because it's a Square Enix game. That's like the only reason he's in there. And the point I was trying to make, I guess, is that has nothing to do with the Final Fantasy lore at all.
No.
Nothing. I mean, Tifa even shows up in Kingdom Hearts 2 and is like, oh, I can't find him. I'm trying to look for him. And she's looking for Cloud the whole time.
Yeah.
Even though Aerith is also in Kingdom Hearts.
And
but
alive.
In Kingdom Hearts.
And they call Squall Leon for whatever reason, and I always hated that.
Yeah, I never played Final Fantasy VIII, so I didn't know that was a thing.
Even in Kingdom Hearts 1, they call him Squall by accident, and they're like, "Oh, I mean Leon."
Yeah, because he doesn't like being called Squall. It's like if your name's like Eugene, you don't be called Eugene.
Yeah, but like, his name's fucking Squall. Actually, Final Fantasy 8 is the one I've played the least, and I really should try to play it again. Maybe after I'm done 9.
It's just so like boring in the beginning when you're wandering around that school.
Yeah. Anyways,
there's a school in Final Fantasy.
There's so much to talk about, and we are rambling so much. I like the tangents, but I'm really excited about this topic, and we really should do this game justice. So, what?
Oh, go on.
Oh, I was just going to say, what should I bring up? Let's look. Okay, well, we got written here.
Bring something up.
I don't know, you have favorite secret character. Now,
I mean, I guess
it's really only 2.
yeah, and I've already said which, like, one of mine.
Yeah, Yuffie's one of your favorites.
I think Yuffie is funner, and she's more nice to look at.
So we should say this 2 secret characters, for those of you living under a rock that never played, are Vincent and Yuffie. And Vincent,
they're both pretty cool.
Well,
Vincent, yeah, they're both super cool, but in terms of mechanics, like, I fucking hate Vincent's limit breaks.
Vincent is basically, in my opinion, unusable.
Yeah, his limit breaks are so fucking garbage. If they did, they should have done something cooler with his gun. I mean, I know he's like a fucking vampire or some shit.
Doesn't he potentially have the strongest limit breaks in the game, though?
No. I'll explain the Vincent trick, but. So I like, you like looking at Yuffie more, but she's kind of annoying, and she steals all your materia. She's like better to use.
Little girl that follows you around.
She's better to use in game. Her limit breaks are better. Her ultimate weapon, its damage isn't affected by the morph materia, so you can like farm items a lot easier with her. But Vincent is a more interesting character plot-wise because he was dating the woman that gave birth to Sephiroth. And you basically find that all out with his side quest and what happened to him, and he was taken out of the picture kind of thing. Just so
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so he was part of the Turks, and he was dating I forget her name. Sephiroth's mom.
Genova.
Not Genova.
Jenny.
Hojo basically, she kind of was like interested in Hojo as well, so he got rid of her, impregnated her, and then planted the Genova cells into the womb. And that's what was so different about Sephiroth, is that the way they used Genova cells was different. Okay, so yeah, that's just kind of interesting. Like Vincent. Maybe Vincent did knock her up, and Vincent is actually Sephiroth's father. It doesn't really go that deep into it, but it's kind of agreed on that Hojo is the father. So Vincent and Barrett can be technically the strongest characters. Kinda. Some people have better limit breaks, like Sid's Highwind. But anyways, there's an item in the game, battle items, hero drinks that kind of boost your stats during that battle. So you can stack hero drinks, and that can potentially let you go over the damage barrier of 9,999.
Knights of the Round.
Well, Knights of the Round is multiple hits of 9,999, right?
Yeah.
But
it does. Yeah, it's like. What? Go ahead.
So if you Knights of the Round. If you have Barrett with the main source, his ultimate weapon, with all maxed out Knights of the Rounds, because the damage of that gun is based on the AP of what's equipped on it,
right?
Materia, and you use the right amount of hero drinks, you can break the damage limit and like one-shot Emerald Weapon. Same thing with Vincent, but Vincent's damage goes up the more monsters he kills. So the more monsters you farm, the more damage it does. Hero drinks, you can one-shot people.
Nice.
But if you're talking about like not breaking the game, it's like Cloud, Barret, and Sid, because they just have the limit breaks with the most hits.
I thought Yuffie had.
Yuffie's is also really good too, yeah.
Wait, you said for breaking the game, those three?
No, not breaking the game.
Oh, because I thought Yuffie was good for not breaking the game.
Yeah, like she just has a good limit break that hits multiple times, and it's gonna be more damage than a single hit of 9,999, right?
You know what a character is that I simultaneously kind of like, but also hate?
Kate Sith?
Well, him, but Palmer.
Oh, Palmer.
Oh, he was that fat guy that you had to fight, right?
Yeah.
The one that
And
you fight right
for some
outside
reason,
of Sid's.
Yeah.
I always remember when somebody's making him a cup of tea and he's like, "Can you put sugar and lemon and lard in it?"
Apparently,
Jeez.
apparently that's a real thing.
Is it though?
Who the fuck puts lard in
People
tea?
will put like fat or like butter and stuff in their tea.
I've never heard of that. That's kind of
It's
grosses me out.
disgusting, but I think it's actually like a real thing. So, what was your favorite part of Final Fantasy VII?
Right before Disc 2, whenever they're at the Temple of the Ancients.
Yep.
And then fuck, how do I say this? When Aerith dies.
So
that
when you
was
go-
probably my favorite part.
Like the City of Ancients.
Yeah.
Yeah, the music in that is my favorite music in the entire game.
No, I think you missed my point. My favorite part is when Aerith dies.
Okay, well, that's sad, but this is a good part of the game. It's very emotional.
Because it's like, oh shit, I've got a lot more to do here.
Yeah.
Because whenever I always thought, like, oh yeah, I didn't know how far along into the story Aerith dying was. So I was like, oh yeah, she probably dies towards the end. Like, there's no point of her like being part of your party being part of your party if she's just gonna die in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh shit, she died right here.
Well,
like, the fuck?
Yeah, I remember it took so long into the game that, like, so back then when I was playing it, when me and Eric were playing it, it was just kind of a rumor that she died. And I remember thinking, like, no, okay, everything's fine. She's not going to die. And then she, like, left my party, and I was like, nah, they wouldn't do that. Like, it's so into the game.
It's like, oh, she'll come back. She's like Jesus or Gandalf.
Well, we'll get her back. We're going to go get her right now.
And then she never came back. She was dead forever.
Eric, what was your favorite part?
I can't really pinpoint any one specific part. You know what? I really, really like everything in the beginning of the game when you're still in Midgar, because I just love the design of Midgar.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite part is the beginning part, like the entire time you're in Midgar. I do really like the Temple of Ancients as well. And I also really like the little interlude kind of when you're at the casino or whatever it is.
Golden Saucer.
Yeah, that's a fun part.
See, Golden Saucer confused the shit out of me the first time I went there, because you walk in and there's like those 8 different holes you can walk down,
and you can like barely read the writing.
Yeah, you can barely read it. The resolution is so fucking bad you can't tell where you're going.
Yeah. I honestly, I think I have the same answer as you, Eric. Like, I really like Midgar. The entire Midgar section is so good, and we thought it was the entire game.
Right, because it's actually like you play for quite a bit before you leave Midgar.
Yeah.
And I just remember, like, when you first leave the city and you see your sprite for the first time on the world map next to the city, that for me was kind of a holy shit moment, because I honestly assumed that the city was so big, I thought the entire game was going to take place.
Because like you only really explore 2 sectors, and there's like 7 other sectors. So it's like, holy shit, like, yeah, that could be, this city will be the entire game, but it's not. I really, like, honestly, like, I love the game. I think it's amazing, but the first disc is really good, but it really falls short in the other 2 discs. I think it just kind of gets,
I think it's just
until the climax.
I think it's just because, like, in the first disc, you get all your party members, you go through, like, all their different, like, or a lot of their background, and you just learn a lot about them. And you see a lot of character development in the first disc. Like, the one that's sticking out to me was whenever you go to Red 13's, like, tribal village.
Yep.
And you're like,
Cosmo Canyon.
oh, yeah, your dad left whenever you were a baby.
And he's like, oh, yeah, he's like, I hate my dad.
Like,
he was a weakling.
And then he goes to, like, that canyon where he sees his dad is, like frozen in metal.
Frozen in stone, but he's still conscious because he starts crying.
Yeah.
And you're
like... it's just like, oh, he actually, like, fought to save Cosmo Canyon or whatever the fuck it was.
Yep.
And it's just like, oh, shit. Red 13 doesn't have a reason to hate his dad anymore.
Yeah.
I'm realizing as we're talking about this that I don't remember this game as well as you two do, and it's kind of actually making me want to replay it because
I played it recently. So.
I probably haven't. I don't think I've played it in over a decade.
No, for sure you haven't, and you should replay it. But you should also play Final Fantasy X.
But we're not talking about Final Fantasy.
Yeah, but I bought him 10 so long ago.
But you brought up something, Mike. You said your favorite music is the music in the Temple of Ancients.
No, the City of Ancients.
City of Ancients. And that's another thing I think is great about this game is the soundtrack is fucking amazing.
Oh, the boss battle music. Like, everyone loves that.
I mean, there's people that have probably never played this game, never played any game that even has Sephiroth in it, but have heard One Winged Angel.
Oh, yeah, that
like,
too.
That's
yeah.
like... Oh. I mean, honestly, that's like probably one of the most well-known gaming
soundtracks.
Yeah. That's a really good one. I really, really like the Mako reactor theme.
Yep.
I also really like the Shinra theme.
Yep.
Very
it's
good,
all
like
good.
Dark,
all the music
atmospheric music.
The One Winged Angel, I remember like the chorus like comes in, and I was just like blown away.
Yeah, man, because they're just like chanting his name. It's like, this is Sephiroth. This
and like
is fucking Sephiroth.
It always interested me why his name was Safer Sephiroth. Like, why?
Why his name was what?
Safer Sephiroth. So the first form is Bizarro, and then it's Safer, and then the third form it's just him.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You lost me.
In the fight, there's the big gray Sephiroth with has all the multiple parts. Okay, sure. That's called Bizarro Sephiroth. And then the form where it's him and he's got like the angel wings for legs and shit, that's called Safer Sephiroth.
But then like just original Sephiroth.
That comes after when you're Cloud and you one-shot him.
Yeah.
I always loved that, like, because like as a kid I never farmed for Omnislash, but it gives you Omnislash because it's just so satisfying to see Cloud just like rip him apart with Omnislash.
It really is, like, because I think you get it at the very beginning of the game too. You get to use it, right?
Omnislash? No.
Oh, you don't?
No.
For some reason I thought you did. Never mind then. I lied.
I think like Cloud Sephiroth is a really interesting villain now that we're kind of talking about him. So as we know, as we already talked about, he was infused with Genova cells before birth even. He was kind of crafted to be a super soldier.
Honestly, who wasn't infused with Genova cells at this point?
Right.
Also, the way they use materia, how it's just like Or because what makes their eyes blue? It was like infusing themselves with Mako, right?
Mako showers, which is something they did to Shinra soldiers. I
to
think
make
maybe
them-
just first class.
Then how did
No,
Cloud...
they did. Yeah, they did to all of them, and it's
Yeah.
kind of like infusing with Genova cells, kinda. It does
Yeah.
make you stronger.
Because it makes you just basic. I thought Mako, like infusing yourself with Mako, just made you able to cast magic ability.
No. Like,
Oh,
so anyways, Sephiroth he was born, he was crafted to be like a super soldier, and I guess he must have had somewhat of a normal childhood, but it was probably kind of controlled by the government kind of thing, and then he finds out
probably raised in a bubble.
he thinks that his Genova was actually his real mother, but really Genova is a space alien that came to the planet like thousands of years ago. She used her shape-shifting abilities to kind of like, I don't know, kill out the ancients, if I'm remembering correctly. And then Sephiroth just kind of
Something like
becomes this thing that's like, because of Genova cells, he will always be part of Cloud. He's in his
Well,
head.
they have a connection.
Yeah, but he's dead.
Yeah, because like Genova's like it almost connects you to a hive mind whenever you're infused with Genova cells.
So it's like it's like with Zack. It's not like Sephiroth's dead, but he's still kind of alive in Cloud's head.
Were Angeal and fuck, who's the other one?
I
Can't
forget
remember
his name. The other guy from kind of
Crisis.
Crisis Core. Yeah.
Fuck. But anyway, were they infused with Genova cells also?
Yeah, and they even had wings like Sephiroth had.
Oh.
They're a complete
Remember that.
retcon. Like, they were not mentioned in the original game at all. They were.
I don't like that.
Yeah, they were introduced for Crisis Core and stuff. Genesis, I think, was the other guy's name.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
What was his
remember,
brother's
and-
name? Super Nintendo?
But anyways, I like Sephiroth as a villain. I also really like Genova as a villain, and even Hojo is really good.
Even who?
Hojo.
Oh, yeah, but Hojo just goes to the fucking beach. Just sits on the beach.
He takes the cannon from, well, okay, Rufus takes the cannon and puts it on Midgar to protect Midgar from the weapons, but then Hojo's like, I'm gonna go and feed Sephiroth all this Mako energy, and then you have to go stop him at the end of disc 2.
You kill Hojo?
Yeah.
Fucking
So
Hojo.
let's bring up least favorite part of the game, because I've got mine right away. Okay, Kate Sith. You find out that he's being controlled by
A Shinra
one of the
employee.
a Shinra employee, and that he's just a robot. And then they have that whole thing where he's gonna like sacrifice himself.
Yep.
Put a
and they-
sacrifice and yeah.
To get
they try
the black materia out of the Temple of Ancients.
And they try really hard to make you feel like sorry for him.
And he's
but
come
you're
around and stuff.
Yeah, but you're aware of the fact that he's a robot, and then he dies, but he's instantly just replaced with the exact
They
same
send
model
a
of robot.
new
so-
model of Kate Sith way too fast. It joins up with you again right away.
Instantly.
Like,
Yeah.
he shouldn't have come back. Cloud should have passed out, and then you wake up into the village that you wake up into, and then Kate Sith should have found you there. Because it's
Yeah.
like, it's the thing gets crumbled, and it's like, oh, I'm here, guys.
Yeah.
Like, why is there not
Yeah.
the Shinra army?
I honestly don't understand the whole Kate Sith thing. I think they did it. Well, like, no, they didn't have to do it. They didn't have to have the fucking Temple of Ancients collapse. Like, I don't like Kate Sith because there's like this giant, just warning sign, I think, flashing in my head, like, oh, why is this guy still in your party?
Well-
Like, why is he still following you around?
Well, they kind of made up like a creative way of, the Temple of Ancients locked away the black materia, and the only way to get it out is it's something to do like the materia and the temple are the same thing, so it gets smaller and smaller as you get it out or something. So you have to die to get it out, essentially.
Yeah, but they didn't have to write that.
But they did. They
changed the way.
If they just put like a dragon in the way and you just kill it, it's like.
I'm not saying a dragon. I'm saying there could have been some other creative solution to it.
I guess so.
That's so much I don't have a problem with. I just thought it was silly how they tried to make you like feel sympathy for him when you're aware that he's a robot. And I hate Kate Sith in general. I just don't like that character at all.
Yeah, I think he's pretty lame. And, like, for him not even being, like, even the optional characters are more interesting.
Yeah.
And they're optional.
I don't know. I did think it was interesting when you found out that, like, somebody at Shinra was a mole, basically, and was, like,
in the
intending
group was
to, like...
a mole.
Huh?
In the group was a mole. You said in Shinra was a mole.
Yeah, well, it's kind of both.
I guess it does go both ways. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. It's just like the only reason why they don't kill him is because they have Marley. He has Barrett's daughter
I forgot about that.
as a hostage, and it's just like, how do you ever forgive this man?
Yeah, like, I feel like as soon as I got Marlene back, Barrett just kills Kate Sith. Like, it doesn't matter how many replacements they send, Barrett just uses it for target practice.
Also, he briefly showed up in Advent Children, so what? Was that guy, like, controlling him still, or...?
Yeah.
What if it's just, like, 10 different guys
in the
fucking Shinra?
His name is Reeves, and the game for Dirge of Cerberus for the PlayStation 2, it's like a third-person shooter where you're Vincent. Kate Sith's actually kind of a main character, and he's always in the Kate Sith little cat thing. The reason why he has a Scottish accent, I don't fucking know. Don't ask me. But you know what?
They could have made a better character.
You know what of course. They could have easily put in a new, better, more interesting character, but I don't know. He kind of works for it. And you know what thing you could ask me, though? Is Cloud a clone? Because I have a pretty funny story with that.
I've heard this theory.
But everybody... I think everybody now knows that he's not.
Well, I know that Paul and Continue has often said that he's a clone, and it always triggers me. But yes, Garrett?
There's a strange theory going around the internet by this guy named Paul Theory or something fucked up like that. He thinks that Cloud is a clone.
Really?
Yeah, he thinks that Cloud is a clone. Like, what do you have to say about that?
I have to say that's absolutely fucking wrong, and the whole entire point of the ending of Disc 2 is to disprove that he is not a clone.
Can you explain more? Can you tell me how?
Okay, so in the end of Disc 1, Sephiroth is basically just like, you're nothing but a clone of me. Like, all you're
that's
there.
Enough proof for me.
All you're there is to do is just to obey me. Give me the fucking black materia, and the Genova cells in Cloud makes him do it. And then later on, they find Cloud. He's all fucked up because he was in the live stream, and that's just like pure Mako. And they, again, Cloud and then Tifa get sucked into the live stream, and they're in his memories. And that's where you find out that Cloud is Zack. Cloud actually was in Nibelheim. So, like, yeah, Cloud's all depressed and fucked up because he's just like, I'm a clone. I never had a real life. I was just Zack. But then you find out that he was there, and he was like one of the soldiers that was just accompanying Zack and Sephiroth. And the Genova cells is what made him live through Zack. And it's a whole point of the end of Disc 2. And there was one time I got in an argument with this guild I was in World of Warcraft. And like there was like 3 people being like, no, he's a clone. And I was like, no, he's not. And I'm like telling them all this shit that happens in the game. And then like one guy's like, well, you know, I played it on the PlayStation. I didn't even play it on like the re-release with a PSP. And I was like, oh, I didn't even know it was on the PSP, motherfucker. Like, if you want to bring that shit up, like, I thought it was only on the PlayStation and the computer. And it got to the point where I was literally sending a link, a URL of like a synopsis of like why he isn't a clone, and it's actually like the entire reason of the game is like identity and shit of like Cloud finding himself, and they're like, well, I like the idea that he's a clone better, and that's what I'm gonna believe. And I'm just like, well, that's not the point of a story. That's not the point of telling a story.
You're wrong in some parts, Mike. Let me fix it for you.
You can write a story where it is up to the reader, but for Final Fantasy VII, that's not what it is.
Let me fix a couple points you got wrong there.
Okay.
The story actually is not about identity. That's not what it's about. It's about the age-old question of length versus girth, Buster's sword versus Sephiroth's sword,
the
and
Masamune.
what do women specifically prefer?
I thought it was a detached tale of modern alienation.
Both of you. I hate both of you. Oh, man, that was a rant and a half. Holy jeez. Oh.
Well, we've done worse on this channel.
Well, I'm just saying that shit makes me heated, because like I really just, it's the point of the game, and if you're not gonna take that from the game, then what's the fucking point of playing the game?
Entertainment. That's like the point of that's like the number one point of almost any game, like entertainment.
Yeah, I guess, but with Final Fantasy, it's always so much about the story, and then I often hear like Let's Players, like big Let's Players and shit, being like, oh, like the story didn't make much sense and blah 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 of a lot of Final Fantasies, and it's like,
you just don't get it.
No, they don't get it. I just don't feel like they have played it as much as I have. And you know what? Like, I'm probably wrong about a lot of things, and there's probably some nerd right now screaming at the screen at me, but it's just different levels of nerdom. It's all good, but just like don't say that Cloud's a clone, because he's not.
What if he is a clone? And you read the story wrong.
He's not. Because Tifa remembers him, and they were childhood friends, and he got Mako showered.
Where did... I forgot, whenever you were going through your rant, I wanted to ask, when did Cloud get Genova cells in him?
So...
Was it at Nibelheim?
Yeah, in Nibelheim, after Sephiroth burns down the town, the mansion somehow survives. Hojo takes Zack and Cloud, shoves them into these Mako tubes, and puts Genova cells into them. They plan their escape. They escape.
And Zack dies. Poor Zack.
Poor Zacky boy.
My favorite character. And then the reason I have a hard time between Tifa and Yuffie is because they both make great porn characters. So I can't decide which one I like looking at more.
All three of them do.
Tifa's got, there's a really good fan-made like hentai movie of Tifa.
Yeah.
I think we all know what I'm talking about.
Oh, we all know, Eric.
Guys, it's no Fap November, and I've failed every day.
I mean, it's no nut November.
Yeah, no nut. I keep fucking it up, too.
You fuck up the no nut, and then you fuck up the name. It's all right, Mike.
Are
you at least not shaving this November?
Yeah, I'm doing that. There's a donjon called Materia Farmer. That's
Mike,
a good
stop.
Yuffie watch.
Yes, we've all seen it. Do we have anything else to say on Final Fantasy VII, or do we just want to continue talking about the female characters of Final Fantasy VII in graphic circumstances?
I really think that we haven't really touched on anything, but we're kind of out of time. But then, it's a huge game, and we'll have a Final Fantasy VII Part 2 eventually.
Maybe sometime.
Oh man, come on! I keep wanting to do Star Wars Part 2.
Eventually,
Star Wars, though, we covered everything. Darth
No, we
Vader's his
didn't.
father. The dark side is.
We gotta leave. This is good talking. We should wait till next time. But yeah, I guess. Anyone else have anything else to say quickly?
Like, which one did you guys prefer? Buster Sword or Masamune?
I really like the Buster Sword. I like when it's all rusted and like has bandages over it. Like I'm a sap for that. But I also like as a child, I was obsessed with the Masamune because it was in a bunch of games. I just like really like the name.
I think the Buster Sword is really unique looking. I think it's cool. I'd go with that one, I guess.
Yeah, I'd agree. Buster Sword is my favorite of the two. And there's actually a guy. He has a YouTube channel. His name's like Michael Cthulhu or something like that. He actually made a Buster Sword, and it weighed like 60 or 80 pounds. It was basically impossible to hold with one hand. But yeah. Anyway, like, subscribe, comment.
Yeah,
we're still looking for D&D members. So message us or something. Be part of our party and stuff.
Maybe.
All right.
We'll look at your resume.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time.
There you go. That's what I was waiting for.